Chers auditeurs,
Dear listeners,
bonjour.
welcome in Comme d'Archi Podcast Season 4
Saison 4, dans le monde fascinant des architectes.
and in the architectural projects.
Je suis Anne-Charlotte Deponte, passionnée d'architecture et docteur des universités en histoire de l'archi.
I am one of the spokespersons of Anne-Charlotte, who is a PhD in architecture history.
Merci
Thank you
d'être avec moi aujourd'hui.
to be with us today.
Et
And
maintenant,
now,
lundi en français, place au talent.
and Wednesday, let's talk projects. In English, of course.
Bienvenue dans Comme d'Archi.
Dear listeners, good morning. This is Esther on behalf of Anne-Charlotte. It's good to meet you again in Season 4 of Comme d'Archi, Episode 26. Let's start by presenting the Petitdidierprioux office. Then, we will talk about the Philippe de Girard project in Paris. Petitdidierprioux Architects. Cédric Petitdidier and Vincent Prioux created the architecture office PETITDIDIERPRIOUX Architects, PPX, in 2004. It is based in Paris and Lyon and has already completed around 30 buildings. Today, PPX has 40 employees. Over the years, PPX has developed its own expertise in the field of housing, always betting on a friendly density to bring back together individual housing and collective housing, including high-rise buildings. The office's experience is internationally recognized. It won the 40 Under 40 Award in 2010, the International Property Awards in 2013, the American Architecture Prize in 2016, as well as the German Design Awards 2020, and recently, 2022, they won the Architizer A+AWARDS in the Best Residential Firm category. It also had the opportunity to be part of numerous international competitions in Germany, Czech Republic, Kuwait, and is now developing 4 projects outside France. PPX has recently won large-scale urban operations, especially for the city of Nice and for the Paris Olympics in 2024, for which it will provide architectural coordination for part of the athletes' village. It is also currently working on large urban projects and sustainable buildings, including an office housing reversible tower, 100% self-sufficient in energy. Open plan. Rue Philippe de Girard, Paris 18. For the housing project on Rue Philippe de Girard, the architects were initially commissioned to advise the developer, Vincent, on the feasibility of a real estate operation. It immediately appeared that this site did not have the capacity to accommodate a standard project because of its narrow and deep configuration. Instead, they proposed an innovative approach with the aim of giving the inhabitants a great deal of freedom in the configuration of their homes. Indeed, to take advantage of a maximum of natural light and to meet the economic stakes of such an operation, they proposed to create large open floor plans open to the street and garden. In order not to limit the access to these dwellings to the most affluent households, it was then proposed to be able to cut the floors à la carte, according to the needs of each one. Seldom the architects drew more than 1,000 configurations of plans in order to offer the most choice and are busy assembling the choices of the customers as they book. In order to promote the architectural writing of the building, 2 devices were set up. On the one hand, 4 technical ducts cross the building and allow it to be connected in all cases. On the other hand, the facade offers a regular and tight grid that allows the choice of different room width or apartment separation. Located in the La Chapelle district, in the heart of the 18th district of Paris, the project is located on a long and narrow plot measuring 41 meters deep by 10 meters wide. The operation is composed of a building of collective housing on the street, 7 floors, and a house at the bottom of the plot, 4 floors. With the ambition of a smooth integration into its context, the street facade is folded in order to absorb the gap between the neighboring buildings and to recreate a continuous built front. The east facade on the street side develops balconies framed by an apparent prefabricated concrete lattice that distances the street from the recessed facade, which is totally glazed to offer maximum luminosity to the interior of the dwellings. As part of a high environmental quality approach and in order to minimize the impact of the construction site on local residents, the building adopts a modular construction method combining wood, concrete, and steel. Designed as an adaptable and reversible building, the main building has open plan floors offering the possibility of à la carte marketing of apartments, ranging from T1 to T4. The concept, living à la carte. The analysis of living patterns has led to the observation that the typologies traditionally offered in new housing no longer necessarily correspond to the expectations of residents, and more specifically of Parisians. The personalization of one's home has become a societal and economic issue in order to place the resident at the center of his life project. The architect is no longer a simple designer, but becomes an assembler of possibilities. The building must adapt to the needs of the resident. It is on this basis that PPX has developed this innovative design, offering entirely free and modular floor plans that can be cut up according to demand as close as possible to the specific needs of each user. This project proposes a diversity of possible living areas and not fixed typologies. The design method is divided into 4 steps. 1. The creation of freestanding floors and regulated facades in order to respond to a variation of configurations. 2. Pre-cutting of each floor into multiple possible lots. 3. The choice of typologies by the inhabitants according to their needs and desires. Surfaces, rooms, views, prices. 4. The final assembly by the architect in a common project. To achieve these objectives and offer total flexibility, PPX has designed a technical layout that frees the floors from verticality thanks to a single circulation core that integrates all the fluids and places the bearers on the periphery of the building. The facades follow a regular grid, allowing a flexible division of the living spaces by proposing an interior glazed skin, punctuated by verticalities that can accommodate separations, and opening on exterior spaces on either side of the building. The facade on Philippe de Girard Street responds to urban issues by following a folded line that recreates a continuity of alignment between the 2 neighboring buildings. A mineral mesh is placed in the foreground, framing the loggias. This new exterior skin integrates the grid of the neighboring buildings in order to offer a residential scale and a resolutely Parisian identity. This complete modularity of the building allows a total adaptation of the project according to the demand of the inhabitants, both in the marketing phase and during the life of the project, allowing its evolution with time. The project in more detail. Initial state of the land and its surroundings. The project is located in the 18th district of Paris. It is located at 73 Rue Philippe de Girard in the La Chapelle district. This district is located between the tracks of the Gare du Nord and the tracks of the Gare de l'Est. It develops around the main artery of Rue Marx d'Ormois. This district is essentially made up of a mixture of buildings from different architectural periods. It is a district in full mutation, notably with the development of the ZAC Pajol, which proposes one of the first eco-districts of Paris, offering various amenities: public spaces, garden, auditorium, library, youth hostel. Near the plot, one can see many housing operations and new equipment. Thus, in this context in perpetual transformation, our proposal comes to supplement the offer of housing while being inserted perfectly in its surrounding urban fabric. Constructional innovation and respect for local residents. Wooden structure. In order to minimize the impact of the construction site, PPX used a construction system combining wood and concrete. This construction process guarantees a clean work site. Pre-industrialization reduced construction and assembly times on site. The carbon footprint is improved. The building on the street is composed of a basement, a first floor, and a concrete circulation core. The rest of the floors and facades are in wood structure, solid panels. Facades and exterior spaces. The two facades of the building on the street being narrow, they are entirely in glass in order to bring a maximum of luminosity in the residences. Each dwelling benefits from an outdoor space. On the first floor, the apartments have a terrace and a garden. On the upper floors, the units open onto a balcony. And finally, on the top floor, the dwelling opens onto a large terrace and a balcony on both sides. Materials and colors of the buildings. On the street side, the main building has a clear structure in the foreground, framing the balconies, then a glazed facade composed of metallized wood aluminum joinery, completed by aluminum sunshades with adjustable blades in the same color. At the heart of the block, the facade is simplified by a glazed skin, metal posts, dark wood aluminum joinery, completed by roller shutters of the same color. The house's facade is in light coating and light aluminum joinery with aluminum shutters. The guardrails are made of glass, except for those on the technical roof planned in metal. The treatment of free spaces and plantations. The demolition of the existing building and the implementation of the buildings allow the creation of a real landscaped garden, forming a whole in the heart of the block. It is composed of a mineral path leading to the house at the bottom of the plot, 2 private terraces, and a large landscape space in the open ground, allowing the integration of the differences in level and offering a planted garden for all. Steps accompany the layout of the garden, creating atmospheres of plant strata, integrating benches and planters, and creating a landscape space not on the ground but in relief. This garden will be maintained by the co-ownership. During the marketing, the future residents were asked how they saw the animation of the first floor. Unanimously, it was decided to set up a small commercial space on the street and to make the garden on the courtyard a place shared by all the inhabitants, to be able to get together around a small outdoor lounge. Dear listeners, thank you for tuning in. Let's meet again next week for a new Comme d'Archi in English. And until then, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Thanks to Julien Rebourg, sound engineer, who is collaborating with us today. Don't forget to tune in to our previews on Instagram at Comme d'Archi Podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, don't hesitate to promote it by giving it 5 stars and a little comment on Apple Podcast or on your favorite podcast platform. And above all, subscribe to listen to all of our episodes for free. See you soon, and until then, take care of yourself.